Smarterfan. Hey, everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. How you doing, Barry?
Man, I'm making soup. I got dumplings, carrots, and potatoes in it. Ooh, it tastes so good. It tastes so good on these cool evenings, my friend. I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing just fine.
All right, let's jump in. Let's jump in.
Yeah, well, tonight I'm going to talk about Roberto Clemente.
Oh, the classic.
Yeah. Now, he was the youngest son of Louisa Walker and Melchor Clemente. Now, he was a high school track star, and he said that throwing the javelin helped with his arm strength and his footwork in throwing. So he was considered good enough to represent Puerto Rico in the Olympics, but he decided to focus on baseball. So he played in the Puerto Rican League, and that his play was so good that it got him signed by the Dodgers.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They are, and that was in 54. They signed him to a $10,000 signing bonus.
That's some money back then.
Yeah. And they sent him to the minors, which was a big mistake because this violated the bonus rule, which stated that if you paid a player more than $4,000, he had to stay in the majors for 2 full seasons. So, as a result, the Pirates grabbed him in this Rule 5 draft. So.
Oh, wow. So the Dodgers lost their 10 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Pirates got him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He chose number 21 for the number of letters in his name. His full name was Roberto Clemente Walker.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
Now.
Wow.
He went into the Marine Reserves from 58 to 64. And he said that the rigorous training cured a back ailment that he had got in the past from a car accident.
Hey.
So, you know, so in 56, now this was a trivia question. Okay. In 56, he became the only player to hit an inside the park walk-off grand slam.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how do you do that?
It was amazing the way they described it, but it was just crazy. And he said the third baseman said the third base coach said he was trying to hold him up, but he ran right through the stop sign and he scored the winning run. So now he made both all-star teams in 60, and he hit 310 in the World Series win over the Yankees. He hit 414 in the 71 World Series and won the MVP. Now, in September 30th of 72, he got his 3,000th hit in his last at bat. So, for the season. And then in October 11th of that year, that was the last game he played in.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, and then he got involved in charity work in 72, and he was sending aid to the earthquake victims in Nicaragua. And he accompanied the plane with the supplies, but the plane crashed right after takeoff. Now, they say the plane was undermanned and overloaded. So,
jeez.
You know, and now Manny Sanguillen, his close friend, he was the only Pirate that didn't go to his funeral, and that's because he was diving at the crash site looking for his body.
Wow.
And it was never him and Clemente and 3 others were never recovered. So now he won the National League MVP. He was a 4-time batting leader. He won 12 consecutive Gold Gloves. and he's the first player from the Caribbean and Latin America to win a World Series as a starter in '60, and he's the first to win a World Series MVP in '71. And he also was the first from the Caribbean and Latin America to go into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. That's a trivia.
Yeah. And they renamed the Commissioner's Award the Roberto Clemente Award. So he had quite the career, and if they didn't screw it up, he could have been a Dodger.
Can you imagine? Oh,
So
that's amazing trivia right there. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but I mean, he was a hell of a player. He had a cannon for an arm.
Mm-hmm.
In right field. And it was I didn't really watch him play that much because I was always, watching the American League. But
Mm-hmm.
watched him a couple of Met games that he played in, games of, the Saturday game of the week, something like that. It was a marvel to watch. He really was.
Yeah.
So.
Great humanitarian, great person.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's never out of the atmosphere of baseball. You always feel him. You always,
Yeah. There's a bridge in Pittsburgh named after him.
Yeah, it should be. So absolutely.
So, what's going on with navigating the transfer portal?
Joe. I just see a lot of. I've been getting reports from these current players coming into the NFL, how they kind of have a mindset of jumping around and not maturing and grinding it out and winning a position and going through what you got to go through.
Yeah.
Right. I'm seeing these kids who are, jumping from team to team to team.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, you do realize you don't have a resume. I mean, I don't understand it because wherever you're going, there's somebody there and there's somebody coming in. That's the nature of the sport.
Right. Yeah.
You got to compete. There's no way to get around it. You're in a competitive situation. You got to compete.
You got to have tape.
Yeah. I mean, you go pro, you got to compete. They're going to draft your position. Even if you're everything, they're still going to draft your position. You got to earn your position every season. And I'm like wondering, it's just gonna be a strange. I see some things and hear some things very strange because I'm like I'm sitting here going, like, if you're serious about going to the NFL, and I knew this was gonna happen, Joe. I said, Prime is building a pro set system.
Yeah,
meaning that it's more. You got to have more than talent. You got to be able. It's a pro set. You're getting paid. There's got to be a certain level of maturity. You if you're not good enough right now, then get good enough.
Yeah.
It's like I don't quite understand. Like I can see if I'm not in the system and there's a better opportunity and things but guys just seem to be jumping in the portal without a plan. Which doesn't make sense to me because you burnt the bridge you're at.
Yep.
For hoping somebody's going to pick you up. But if you haven't made enough noise where you were, how are you going to get any shine?
Right.
Like this kid who left Colorado was a walk-on. He was getting a lot of, most of the receivers had left. He stayed and he was in position because Shador was feeding him, right? And this is what was kind of very cruel in my estimation. The previous offensive coordinator offered him, I guess, a scholarship.
Right.
But you're going to a scholarship to San Diego State, son. They're not on TV. They're nowhere. Yeah. They're literally 3-9 this season. So you're out on an island somewhere, right? Colorado has brought in 2 tight ends. Neither of them could block, and neither of them could catch. So you could have been the man. Could you imagine having these offenses worry about the receivers and forget about the tight end? Yeah. He could have had All-American year this year.
Well, you know what they call receivers that can't catch? Defensive backs.
That's cold, Joe. That's cold. That's cold. That's cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded.
Yeah.
That's cold-blooded. But you know what I'm saying? So now this kid is out, and I'm just like looking, like I saw another report, a lineman decided to leave, and I'm like, where do you go? Where do you go if you leave Colorado in a winning season? So why don't you buckle up your chin strap, start grinding and working, because you're being coached by Hall of Famers, pros who can get on a phone and get you an opportunity. More than likely, if you really do what you need to do, wherever you're going, those coaches don't have that juice. Right. They don't have that juice.
No, not at all.
They don't have that juice.
Not at all.
Right, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And plus, what's to your advantage? Even if I spent 4 years second string at Colorado, but I'm in a pro set and I'm getting better every year, I'm in a lot better position than I'm number 3 at Alabama or number 3 at Texas.
Yeah.
I'm on TV. I'm on TV every week.
Mm-hmm.
Scouts are at my practice every week. I just need to lock in.
Yeah.
Put in more work. And I'm just like looking at these kids going like,
well, that's the thing. They got to put in the work.
Yeah. I don't know what they think this is. Like, you just think you're going to transfer and be the starter and they're going to look at you. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And I think these kids are going to really suffer. Because they're going to find themselves, a lot of them are finding themselves not picked up, can't go back.
Nope.
And they're out on the island, and their careers are basically over.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't put any forethought, any planning. And because I'm sitting here going, if I'm on Colorado, I'm on TV all the time. I'm getting so much shine. I just need to lock in and do what I'm told. Yeah. If I perform, think how crazy this is. If I'm LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Colorado has gotten more shine than them in the last 2 years. You would think Colorado won the national championship as much shine as they got.
Yeah. Hey, that's what Coach Prime brings.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what you as a player want. I think the freshman, listen how crazy, and I'm going to be quiet. The freshman center who took over the job from an upperclassman became freshman All-American.
There you go.
No stars out of IMG. Got an opportunity in Colorado. Freshman All-American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well.
Where does that happen?
Colorado.
Speaking
of football, now the last few weeks in the NFL have been crazy.
It really has.
Week 14 has been no different. Okay. So the standouts for me were Saquon. He rushed for 124 yards, and he broke LaShawn McCoy's record for the franchise record of 1,607 yards. So now the question, yeah. Now the question for me is, will he break the league record that's held by Eric Dickerson of 2105, set in 84? He
could.
I mean, Barkley has 1623 right now. So
that's a lot of yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the season's, he's still chugging along. So, now Kirk Cousins' homecoming in Minnesota was spoiled by Sam Darnold.
Oh, for sure.
And the Vikings, 42-21.
Oh, yeah, they could put it on him.
Now, Darnold is having a career year. He's on a 1-year contract. What do the Vikings do with him? Because they're saying J.J. McCarthy is their future.
Well, either way, Darnold can't fail.
No.
I mean, he's balling out. There's a lot of needs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people need quarterbacks. And so either way, but this JJ guy don't pan out, there's going to be hell to pay.
That's right. Now, special teams were crazy this weekend. Now,
Mm,
the Giants lost because they attempted to kick the tying field goal, which was blocked with the clock running out.
that's
So
a shame.
that's how they lost. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think the Giants have won a home game this season.
I don't think so.
You know, now the Bills and the Rams, they were
That
in
was a game.
shootout. Oh my
That was a game.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
talk about special teams. The Rams scored on a blocked punt. And that set the tone right there, you know. Now, Josh Allen, he threw 3 touchdowns and ran for 3, and they still lost.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
They lost by 2.
That's just sometimes it's your day and sometimes it's not, because you got to say, well, what else can I do?
Exactly. You know. Now, Tyron Smith and Zack Martin, these two guys, you know, they came up together, and Smith's got a neck injury, so he's done for the season. And
You talking about the Cowboys?
Yeah. Well, he's with the Jets now, but you know, but he's got a neck injury, and that might just end his career.
Oh yeah, he went to the Jets for the cash out.
Right. Right. But he
gotta get cashed out.
But it was a $12 million incentive laden contract, where he had to play 98% of the snaps to get the $12 million. So that ain't happening.
Oh, okay.
So
well, he got some salary, I'm sure.
Yeah, he got something, but he didn't get what he was trying to get, you know. So now Zack Martin, he's having season-ending surgery on his ankle. Now there's speculation about him retiring.
Yeah, he's done.
But he says he's not ready to talk about the future yet. So,
well, he's over 10 years in the league. That body has had enough.
Right.
Cards.
Yeah. And he's the last of those draft picks.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys on a rebuild, you know, what coming back is going to do?
Yeah.
Unless he needed money.
Well, that remains to be seen.
That body, especially an ankle and for a lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, you're torquing that thing so much. And it's probably torn up over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that body is like, I've had enough of the car wrecks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like he's playing another position. He's playing a high impact position.
Yeah.
And he's a big guy, like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
You're talking about his ankle. I used to play with a guy his size, and he had unusually small feet and ankle issues all the time. He was always getting needles in his ankles to play.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's a lot of weight to be moving.
It's a lot of weight. I was like, man, how are your feet so small? You're like 6'5", 310.
Jeez.
Anyway.
So what's going on with Kobe?
Man, I'm just, I don't know what's going on. I when Kobe got into the league, I was like, that kid's a problem. Then I just had this strange relationship with Kobe, but he's become like one of my favorite players, probably not so much because of what he did on the basketball court, but just the way he went about his business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, my brother thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I said, you know what? I think Kobe showed the league that you could be more than a basketball player and still be great.
Yeah.
Because there's like this narrative for athletes, especially black athletes. Poor, dumb, can't hold on to their money, bankrupt, bunch of baby mamas, drama.
Yeah.
Even if you don't come from that.
No.
They try to attach that to you as a black athlete.
Yeah, because it's the broad brush that's been painted.
Yeah, the lazy journalism, right? And I think when you really look at Kobe, man, and how he handled himself, how he bounced back from adversity, being a strong father and so forth and so on. It really made a lot of people go, man, that's a that's an image right there. That's an
Yeah.
image right there. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
an image right there of constantly remaking himself and remaking himself and remaking himself, and very strong-minded
For
young man,
sure.
and did things with the piano and the children's story. He became like a really Renaissance man,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Yeah.
and hearing people talk about, the impact, things that he did on and off the court, I was like, even this is crazy. Apparently, in this thing I was listening to, it was talking about, well, Vanessa really can't get married to anybody else. The way he structured the money and
Mm.
structured the things with his kids,
Yeah.
so she's kind of got to be. She may be able to date, but she can't marry anybody because it jeopardizes her stability and the kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, he. So I said that daggone Kobe said, "I'm gonna reach beyond the grave and make sure everything's right." And
Uh-huh.
I can't blame him, to make sure his kids are taken care of and that she doesn't do things to jeopardize that,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
because
yeah.
she could, hook up with some, Yoki. Well, you heard what had happened to Eddie Murphy's wife, right?
Which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. The tall, fierce Q. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's out of here. She had 15 million. She got in a divorce settlement, so she broke now because she
Mm,
gave 11 million to a friend who stole the money from her.
mm, mm,
Who does that, Joe?
mm, mm, mm.
He
Yeah.
got you got 15 million. You give it to some quote unquote friend. He take 11 million. He goes and disappears. Now, how are you going to maintain? You don't have no kind of acting career. The only claim to fame you have is being Eddie Murphy's wife, former wife.
Mm, mm.
Anyway, so
Uh,
yeah, Kobe. I think the more time goes on, he's such an interesting person to me.
mm. Yeah. Well,
Really interesting person.
speaking of interesting, I told you. I told you this would happen. The
I was
Met
I was hoping you was gonna. I was hoping. I saw it and I said, "Joe is gonna get me.
the
Joe is
Mets
gonna get
had
me."
the deepest pockets, and who did they get? Juan Soto. So
Hey, how much?
765 million for 15 years. And
Damn.
he can opt out after 5 years.
Woo, he ain't opting out to nowhere but the beach.
Yeah. So
760.
but
I ain't mad
that's
at you,
what the
Juan.
Mets, the Yankees offered him 760 for 16 years, but he took the 765 for 15.
I wonder why.
One less year, but more money.
But being a Yankee or being a Met, interesting.
He went with the money, and I knew he was going to do that. And you know what? He said that from the get go. He said he was going to going with the money. You know,
Okay.
so you can't blame him. You can't be mad at him.
No, no.
Now this brings the Yankees to Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Now they signed Max Fried, the left-handed pitcher from the Braves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now they have some options. Now, what I'm thinking is they should sign Jurickson Profar. He's with the free agent. He was with the Padres. He can play third base and he can play the outfield.
Okay.
Okay, he would fit in perfectly with what they need him to do. Now they have Jason Dominguez, but he has to work on his defense.
Okay.
He could play left field. He's a center fielder, but they have to work on his defense with him.
Mm.
Now they're talking about Christian Walker to play first base. He's a 3-time Gold Glover,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a free agent. He's an above average hitter,
Mm-hmm.
Or they could trade for Cody Bellinger, and he could play center and first base.
Interesting.
So now I'm not sure if they're going to go after Corbin Burns. They haven't said anything else about that, but he's one of those highly sought after pitchers.
Okay.
you know. So the Yankees do have options. I mean, I like Jurickson profile because he's also a switch hitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, and they're talking about Pete Alonso for first base, and he's just, he's I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me. He's no better at playing the field than Rizzo was. So,
Okay.
but we'll just have to see how all this plays out. And then because the winter meetings they're in high gear right now. So, so hopefully we'll know something by next week or so. But we'll see what happens. But we'll have to wrap it up here and talk about it next week.
Absolutely. I know the time goes by so fast, buddy.
You.
Oh man, I start to feel my lips flapping. I said, all right, man, you gotta slow down. Gotta give Joe some room. Gotta give Joe some room. But so much is happening in the sports world. We even get to John Morant. We didn't get to Formula One. I got a whole list of stuff to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we say on the Smarterfan podcast, stay in the game and see you next week.
That's right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Smarterfan. Smarterfan. Yeah.